Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Nicole Yen, a business coach who scaled her online venture to 20K plus months on just 15 to 30 hours per week. She now equips coaches, creators, and digital product sellers with straightforward strategies for easy sales, covering authority-led content, sales psychology, trust-building customer journeys, and chaos-free scaling systems. Her no-fluff approach helps ambitious women ditch scattered tactics for aligned, high-performing businesses that match what they truly value. With that being said, Nicole, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you, Milan. It's good to be here. I'm very excited to be on this podcast, and I have heard of Closers.io before. So for me to get invited to Founders Future, being a sub-brand of it, I was stoked, to say the least. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. This is going to be such a cool conversation. There's a lot of things that I would like to cover, so we're just going to dive right into all of this. And how I like to open up every single one of these episodes is with a bit of traveling back in time first. So when it comes to you, before launching this current business of yours, what was that journey like before? And then eventually, what was the motivation for getting into this space?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Going back to the actual founder's journey of this future, right? Bit of wordplay there. So when I first started well, first of all, this wasn't like my first business. Like I've done businesses in the past before with like print on demand, physical businesses. And I've always known that I was going to be an entrepreneur because I just didn't want to go through recycling every corporate job because it's the same shit, different toilet. I hope shit is allowed on the podcast
Yep.
because I was definitely not going to say the F word. But what I meant to say was that I just knew that, I was born to provide more, to provide value for other people. And that was just like rooted in my passion. So when I first like started in digital marketing space, I did come from a sales background and I thought that I would bring that to I guess like combining with digital marketing, social media, sales. I did B2B and B2C sales and bring it into the digital product space. Initially, when I started, I was reselling digital products in that MRR zone, just because it kept popping up on my feed and I saw some lady make like 50,000 in like 3 months. And I was like, that cannot be real. I researched it, somehow got into it, and then realized it just didn't feel like me. I was not selling products from the heart. I felt like it was a little bit, scammy. And I decided, you know what, I've started businesses before. I can take everything that I've learned. And what I've seen online is that I've seen a lot of brilliant women just get sold recycled advice over and over again. Same thing that was happening to me. So I thought, you know what, if I really just zoned in on my own zone of genius, which is providing value to these women, being able to provide and service all those gaps that they weren't getting from business knowledge in terms of like buying all these courses and figuring out how to run a business successfully or building a sales funnel or, like showing up on their content. It's not just like be consistent, show up every day. It's like found in actual strategy. I could really help them implement really scalable foundations and business infrastructure that would bring them to those 20K months while also rooted in my philosophy of being life first. So I decided, all right, cool. The coaching industry needs a whole lot more than just motivation. It needed strategy. So I moved away from the whole reselling, pivoted fully into coaching and decided to just really just focus my efforts on coaching women, ambitious, talented women who are underpaid, underseen, who don't understand why their revenue is still inconsistent, anywhere below 10K per month plateau, and really figuring out how am I going to be able to come in, audit their current infrastructure. And I mean, they're smart women. They deserve the right smart infrastructure and ability to scale. It's not because they were having problems with, they're not smart enough or they're not talented enough, but it's how can we translate all of their messaging, their positioning online to be able to show up as an authority in their field. So I decided, okay, coaching industry needs a bit of a change. I'm going to fully go straight into this. So I pivoted fully into coaching and now I just do one-to-one approaching retainers with a mixture of group as well, and created She Built This. So She Built This exists because smart women deserve smart infrastructure, not just a hype session with thousands of templates thrown in and figure it out as you go, which is what a lot of other people on the online space and gurus talk about, but it's about building with intention. And of course, then the smart girl method was born. So, or um, it's all in the wordplay of the actual business. She built this, not that she was gifted this or she hustled her way into this. I'm all not about the hustle, the grind, but she built it deliberately, architecturally, with intention. And she built it different too, because this is about building a model that also brings life first into play. The 15 to 30 hours a week is not because, like, oh, I'm lazy or I want to have a slow morning or coffee or yoga morning, whatever, but it's more about creating breathing space and the capacity to have that ability of true freedom. Like, what's the point of a 50K month if you're working 70 hours per week and you're hustling and grinding still? Because the whole point that we are here to have a business is to provide us that freedom to take a mental health day, to be able to, work her like life or schedule around her wait no work around her life instead of the life around her work. There we go.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Took me a while
Yeah.
there.
Thank you for
That
clarifying on
was
that. But
right, yeah.
you, you know
I was
what?
like, wait a second.
Yeah, I absolutely love these stories though, because I feel like every single entrepreneur is coming from a little bit of a different place. But I think that you're coming from like, hey, I had an experience in marketing, I had an experience in sales. I'm basically combining everything that I've learned and I put it in a way and in a structure that actually allows other people to pretty much follow my path. And I love it because it also makes you just be, very present for your clients and truly understand exactly where they're coming from. And when it comes to your industry overall, I just feel like you're solving a big, big issue that is just becoming more and more present for a lot of people. When it comes to coaching, consulting, there
Mm,
is, in the past few years, that has been an insane growth, right? So there is a lot of those people that you're talking about, which like they have the experience. There is a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience that they bring to the table, but they have no idea what sort of systems they need to have in place to actually make it worth something, right? And I'm not only talking about the financial side of the business, but also like, hey, how can I help the most people that I can possibly help? So it's a beautiful journey. I love the structure and the place that you're coming from. Now, when it comes to your clients, I think you gave us
thank
a
you.
pretty good idea of like who is that ICP, but also what the offerings look like. And I'm gonna switch it up on you real quick, and we're gonna start talking about the behind the scenes because I know for a fact that a part of what you talk to your clients about is the ability to have the visibility, the exposure, getting in front of the right people, and this is also something that you need to be asking yourself. So when it comes to your own marketing activities, what is it that you currently do to make all of this even happen and have the ability to onboard you and your clients?
Ooh, that is a really good question. So I'll tackle the first half and then we'll go into the second part of that question. But I also do want to add about the a point I was making about a life as sustainable business is that most of the business owners that you see, or service providers, agencies, consultants, they talk a lot about a sustainable business, but do they really mean? Is that sustainable in terms of profit, right? What I'm talking about sustainability is that does it sustain you in a life where you wake up every day and you still choose to do the same thing, right? Because I've been burnt out before in my journey, and I'm not just like talking about like, oh, I'm burnt out, I'll just go and have like a spa day, but literally that experience shaped the way that I see a sustainable business, where it has to be grounded in your passion, something that you actively wake up every day and you're excited to provide that value and that service or that product to someone, it serves them. And then also gives you profit, obviously, because it's the business bottom line. And your, passion, profit, and what's the last one? Purpose. It gives you purpose every day. And that whole experience shapes everything. And to lead that into how I treat my business is, first of all, grounding within that ethos, right? You have to have that ethics of what's shaping your business for you to be able to position yourself as a credible figure and an authoritative figure. And it's about showing up with that messaging of being true to yourself, because I've been burnt out before. That's why I like a life first business. I want a life first business because it affords me like true freedom. All of these things has to come from a business that actually provides these things, and the infrastructure needs to be there. So who am I to come up and say, all right, these are all the things that I believe in. So you have to be really authentic to who you are, what you believe in, and it has to be grounded in that purpose. And that's how I differentiate myself when I show up with my marketing, organically or paid otherwise. But it's about really like coming to terms with this is what I fully embody in my business. And this is what I want other women to embody as well. And those women that share that same embodiment as me, they're going to resonate with me and they're going to find me someone who is credible in what I do, because obviously I have the value and I show them the value and have the results for it. But then I guess when you were talking about how I position myself, it's just basically like just I love lots of hot takes. I love contrarian takes. I love being bold. That's just who I am as a person, and just like sticking to that has really like made me, I suppose, like stand out as a person of authority in my niche. The second part of your question, could you just repeat that part? So you talked about how I show up for my business, and then the second part was, could you
Yeah,
remind me,
absolutely.
please?
So when it comes to this, by the way, I love the way you just put it. It was a great answer, and I feel it's really important for everybody to be coming from a place of alignment. The business needs to make sense from the point of
Yeah.
alignment. Like, how does it make me feel internally? But also the second part of the question was just like we have a lot of other business owners listening to this right now. So if we can maybe
Mm-hmm.
shine a bit more light in terms of what marketing strategies have actually worked for you so far? Is it about running ads? Is it about just
Mm-hmm.
creating
Yeah.
content on social media, networking? What is it?
Yeah, so it's a mixture. I run ads for sure, just to help with my visibility. But I think what's most important is building like a really good ecosystem of content, which is, if you think about it, in today's day and age of marketing, everyone's seeing so many touch points, advertising, billboards, like things are coming at them. Everyone's on their phones and scrolling. So they're seeing lots of ads. So people get desensitized to a lot of new information. Plus, with AI, with Claude, ChatGPT, OpenClaw, everyone's just been like convoluted with so much information. It's hard to kind of like see what's coming at them. So to be able to stand out, and how I would stand out really, again, like alignment, because then I have purpose is rooted in my passion. But then also I think what really works for me is dialing into identity, where your authenticity cannot be replicated or duplicated by AI, right? Like AI needs all the parameters and everything that you feed it for it to come up with any kind of content, but it usually never disagrees or goes off from, you know what I mean? So identity marketing is incredibly important across both organic and paid to be able to create that shift and resonance with your ideal clients, your ideal client avatars and the personas, because for them to listen to you talk, whether it's a head talk, a fancy professional edited video, doesn't matter. The content is king or queen, because we're being feminist here. They need to understand and they need to resonate with you based on like your personal branding. I think a lot of people get caught up with like, oh, you need to come across professional and everything. Like, honestly, your personal branding and your identity and what you believe in, these are all things that are human at the very core. It is also what bounds your core pillars of how you run your business, because you're the entrepreneur and you're the solo entrepreneur too, for a lot of these like business owners and service providers. So being able to come out, show up on my social media, talking about my story, leveraging my personal branding, what I believe in, about my story, about behind the scenes, all the hard stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. It creates a lot of that identity resonance with other people where they go, oh, like I really connect with you when you said this, or I really get you when you were talking about this, and unlocking those perspectives and shifts in people get them to go, I guess she knows what she's talking about. But also dialing into the identity of how I like market myself as like the smart girl method, which is what I call my course and my community as well. Smart girl room, smart girl scales, it's all under my brand umbrella. It's talented, ambitious women who see themselves in their zone of genius, that are smart and also identifies being smart or identifies wanting to be smart, and leveraging all of their tools, strategies and to implement in everything, all the infrastructure in their business to be able to scale to 20K plus months or whatever figure they have in mind. But building that the core foundation there. So showing up in that identity and having other people look to the identity, either they see themselves as it already or aspire to be, that
Mhm.
I would imagine gives me a competitive edge. I hope I answered your question on that one.
Yeah, no,
It
again,
was a
it
good
was a great
question though.
answer. And
Made me
yeah,
think.
you mentioned a lot of things. But here's the thing, though, with you specifically, I think you're actually touching on a point that I've been bringing up recently a lot more, which is the idea of like, I realize in the past couple of years, there's a lot more people who are either intentionally starting their businesses or intentionally pivoting in their business to really make it this idea of a lifestyle business,
Mm,
right? So, like, obviously, not necessarily all of us are going to be starting
hmm
with an idea of building an empire. But with you putting so much emphasis on just having that kind of alignment and freedom with the business and talking about the fact that you managed to build this with just like 15 to 30 hours per week, I'm curious, is this like an idea that you're going to be carrying with yourself even in the future of the company? And you would maybe like to stay as a solopreneur and just make sure that it stays within a, specific structure and you don't have to build a team and, take on all of those responsibilities? Or when it comes to the vision of the business, what does that look like going forward?
Oh, yeah, that is a good one. So back to what I talked about, sustainable business being like, right? The one that you choose it every day and not just, tolerate it or feel like, you resent it because you've built it up to a point where you're like, oh no, now I have to do this, but more of I get to do this. That's the bar that I hold She Built This up to. So of course it has to be grounded in something real with the purpose of craft, the genuine usefulness of it all. And talking about profitable and purposeful are in opposites. It's actually the whole point. It's a good question in terms of like, will I carry the whole life first philosophy forwards? Yes, because it's one of the core philosophies that ground my entire SMART goal method. Reason being, and I talked about this before a little bit, about how I was super burnt out in my old job. What happened was that I was building, while having a full-time job, I was building a physical print-on-demand business, and I was literally like slogging away like 60 to 70-hour work weeks. And that's not sustainable for anyone, even if you are, you've got a robot and you've got like open claw, like, which is working for you like full time. It's just a very expensive job that you just give yourself. And I just didn't want that to be the case for me. So when I built She Built This, I had in mind one of the key tenets and philosophies was creating a life first business, not just for slow mornings or coffee and yoga mornings, but also just a business where I don't resent and that I actually love to do what I do. And sure, like, is it silly to cap at as many like clients of like 10 at any one time? Maybe. But the thing is that it works for me because I'm able to sufficiently say that I'm happy in providing the value that I do, the work that I do for my clients. It's not about getting more clients, it's about quality I can work with my current clients. If you focus on serving over selling, and I know a lot of people say serve over sell, but what does it actually mean? It just shows how much you care about the work that you actually do, and your business will grow from that naturally. So keeping it lean is important because obviously like it gives me the time to be able to breathe, to have that like mental bandwidth to do other things in my life. But it's also the choice. Having a life first business means that I get to choose when to show up, when I want to show up, which is a lot of the time and most of the time, 99% of the time, because I love what I do. But if I choose not to show up, it doesn't mean that my business is going to fall apart. So that is the life first philosophy there. And in regards to building a team and the vision for it, I wouldn't say that it's a complete one woman show. I do have like some contractors and freelancers working part time for me, but just on the contract basis. And I'm sure it's the same for a lot of other business or solo operators or agency owners who run a very lean team. And the thing is that I want to keep my team. I don't see my team growing beyond 4 to 5 maximum. Right now, I have a video editor, I have a VA and ops manager who also helps like manage my community as well, and then I have an appointment DM setter, and that's it. I have 3 people including, well, excluding me. So I'm the fourth person. And I want to keep it that way. And I actually really like it because I enjoy high profit margins of at least 75% and upwards. And that's great. And can I work towards scaling towards 50K plus months? Yes, absolutely. I've done the math. That's possible with a team of four, including myself. Do I want to? Yeah, absolutely. And can I on 50 to 30 hours a week? Yeah, I can definitely do that. It's just about building your offer stack and your ladder, making sure that everything is structurally sound to be able to scale. And the option is there if I want to. But right now I'm really enjoying 20 to 25K revenue months with 15 to 30 hours per week. It's awesome. And I'd say that it fills my cup in terms of how I like to live my life, my lifestyle. It works for me. And again, like what I mentioned earlier, I don't need to construct my schedule and my life around my work, but my work actually supports my lifestyle. And that's the whole point of a sustainable business, that I can continue to do this for as long as I can and live my best life.
Yeah, Nicole, I gotta say one thing though. You're pretty much doing my job for me right now because you answered so many things that I didn't even get a chance to ask about, and I was genuinely getting myself ready to do so. This is amazing. I love the story and I love the mindset that you have. I am going to ask you my last question though, and you probably know this by this time, but it's one of my favorite ever. But if you could travel back to those early stages of just launching this operation. What is something that you didn't know about business back then and you do know now that would be a good advice?
Build the structure and build the right foundations before you scale the traffic. Before you feed the funnel or before you start any paid ads, like just make sure that your foundations are super, super solid. Also, don't be afraid to dial down on your niche. I know a lot of people say that, oh, you are the niche, or what if you're not attracting as many people as you like? Like there are literally millions of people in this world, and if you go with the whole resonance of like identity marketing, where you really appeal to the identity, the ethics of other people because of your own ethics and what is aligned with you, your ideal clients will naturally find you. And if you make sure that your foundations are set in terms of like the mission that you're providing, the value you're providing, the right infrastructure, then that's all you need to focus on. And then focus on serving before selling. Because when I kind of like started out, I think I was focused on growing, like most people are, because people are like, how do I bring in profit? How do I find my next client? What lot about that on my Instagram, but it's not about chasing the next lead or the next person or trying to find the next profit where you're coming from, but it's about focusing on the clientele that you do have, making sure that you are providing all the value that you can. And then that work will shine and it will propagate and exponentially increase your income across everything else, because I think it starts within and then it goes further out, if that makes sense. I think I kind of froze in between there as well. So I'm really sorry about that because you looked a little bit
No, it's
concerned for
perfectly fine.
me.
I think
You
we
looked a little,
heard most of it, so that is perfectly fine. Nicole,
yeah.
again, this has been such a pleasure to listen to your story and have you share those ideas with our audience here on Founders Future. So I want to say thank
Thank
you
you.
again for being a part of it. And if we have anybody who's listening right now that would like to maybe take a closer look into your work, what is the best way for them to go about it?
Head to my Instagram and DM me method.
DME method. That's it.
DM me
Easy as
method
that.
or DM me smart. I will be talking to you. We'll start with an architecture audit.
Very good.
But also, sorry, I really want to mention as well, I just popped into my head, but another thing that I personally got confused with when I was starting out, and I think that all founders, if you're just starting out as well, focus on the rule of one. Get one offer, one person, your ideal client that you want to deal with. Focus on one platform, one strategy. Do all of those things long enough for you to get results and get that momentum and then ride that momentum. Do one thing well before you add anything to it. And I think people get too convoluted with, I need to do this and then that, and then run paid ads and then go to this platform. But that's too chaotic. Just focus on one offer, getting one trust flow, one sales funnel, do that right, and then duplicate it.
Yeah, I would agree though. If you end up doing seven different things, you're not going to be 100% dialed in. It's just not possible.
Yeah, your
Master
energy
one
is
thing and then
scattered.
move on. Yeah,
Yep, yep, exactly. Do it well, do more of that, and then keep doing that, and then duplicate the system that works. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. And
Well,
thank
Nicole,
you, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was just about to say again, this was a great conversation. So I enjoyed my time with you today.
Thank you. I really did as well. Like, I love your energy on this podcast. You're doing an amazing job of being an interviewer, and I'm so sorry with my connection.
No, we did a great job, and the internet connection that is also holding up pretty good. So we're happy. Nicole, again, thank you
Awesome.
for the podcast. It was a great stuff. And to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or a coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io. Get in touch with our team and discover how exactly we scaled our company from 0 to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.